What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got Khamzat responding to Belal Muhammad, the Hangman roasting Jon Jones, another fighter retirement, and much more. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this. Now let's get into it. Michel Prazeres retires following 4-year USADA suspension. 40-year-old UFC welterweight Michel Prazeres is hanging up the gloves for good after he was handed a 4-year suspension by USADA. The reason? He tested positive again for banned substances, his second violation in his career. According to USADA officials, urine samples collected out of competition back in August, September, October, and November showed he tested positive for clomiphene and its metabolites, oxandrolone metabolites, and exogenous administration of testosterone. He also tested positive for banned substances back in March of 2019 and was serving a 2-year suspension since then. With his now 4-year suspension, Prazeres wouldn't be eligible to fight until August 2025 when he's 44 years old, and he's decided to hang them up for good, ending a career that saw him finish with a UFC record 10-3 and wins over Gilbert Burns, Josh Bergman, and Mairbek Taisumov. What do you make of Prazeres' 4-year suspension and his retirement? Following Belal Muhammad call-out, Khamzat Chimaev finally responds. With a big win over former title challenger Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Belal Muhammad was quick to call out champion Kamaru Usman, which was to be expected, then Leon Edwards, whom he still believes he has unfinished business against on account of their fight that ended in a no contest back in March due to eye pokes. But following the fight, Belal seemed to have a quick change of heart and started pushing for a potential fight with surging welterweight Khamzat Chimaev. The Chechen Swede has been dominant in all 4 of his fights in the UFC and has finished every single opponent, prompting calls from the media and fans alike for Chimaev to take on ranked opponents and push him to the top of the line for even contending against top 5 contenders. Belal believes that a win over Khamzat, a man whose hype is at a fever pitch right now, would allow him to steal his hype and ride the momentum to a potential welterweight title shot. Well, Khamzat is now responding to Belal's words and said this on Twitter: "You number one, I need 1 minute to take your head." And he also posted this: "When you got a finger in your eye, you gave up. How are you even gonna think to fight me?" Boy, while it remains to be seen who Khamzat will fight next, what do you think? Well, we asked and you voted. Our poll asked you who you'd like to see Khamzat fight next in the octagon, and over 9,000 of you voted. 54% of you want to see Khamzat take on Colby Covington, followed by 30% wanting to see him take on Gilbert Burns. Here's what some of you had to say. "I honestly would love to see him whoop everyone on that list, but Colby would be the best to see broken. It's definitely a fight worth watching, that's for sure." Gilbert versus Khamzat. I guess out of that list, probably a good warm-up fight before he fights Colby. That's assuming if he gets past Burns, but Gilbert could be a good fight for Khamzat as he matched up well with him stylistically. Khamzat would crush Magny. I want to see him fight Colby, and after what Colby has been doing lately, I'll be rooting for funny man Colby 100%, but it's a very intriguing fight. Is Kham that good? We'll know. Colby would make this such an entertaining build-up with all that trash talking. But what do you think about Khamzat potentially taking on Belal Muhammad? Who do you want to see him fight next? Also, don't forget to join the conversation in the community tab of our channel. Gabriel Checco will take on former UFC champion Rashad Evans as he comes out of retirement. It's been 3.5 years since Sugar Rashad Evans competed in a professional MMA fight, but the former light heavyweight champion is now returning to the octagon next month to fight in Khabib Nurmagomedov's Eagle FC promotion. This promotion will be making their North American debut on January 28th. Evans, who retired following a loss to Anthony Lionheart Smith back at UFC 225 in June of 2018, his 5th straight fight at that point, he will be looking for his first victory since November 2013. His opponent will be fellow light heavyweight Gabriel Checco, a 35-year-old Brazilian fighter who is 12-5 in his career and only recently won a fight back in October by a TKO in the first round. Evans is 42, and while he admits that he's not chasing titles anymore, he's happy to finally get back in the mix. Case in point, during a recent interview on SiriusXM, he said this: "I'm not crazy. I know what this is and what this is about. It doesn't take away the significance of it. Sometimes we get to the mindset where we're like, if I'm not chasing the belt, then I'm not chasing anything. But for me, to compete is my reward. For me to do it in a way and a shape that I want to, that's all I need, to be honest. I just see life differently. I know what I'm capable of when I'm at my best, and I just want to feel that feeling again. Are you excited to watch Evans return to the cage? And how do you think this fight will go? Don't forget to take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest fight news. Following the Jake Paul knockout, Tyron Woodley had no recollection. Last weekend's massive knockout of Tyron Woodley by Jake Paul is still making headlines, and now Dean Thomas is revealing some of the details of what transpired that night on Tampa, Florida. Woodley lost his rematch against Jake Paul last Saturday via KO. It was his second boxing loss in a row to the YouTuber, and as a former UFC welterweight champion, Woodley was clearly crushed by the result. The knockout put Woodley on another planet, as he had to be told what happened. Case in point, during a Sirius XM MMA show, Thomas said this.
I think he went through a series of different emotions. I remember standing inside the ring as soon as it happened. He was like, no, what time, when do I go back out? So he didn't even know, like right when it happened, he thought it was in between rounds, and I'm sure he was probably wondering why everybody was standing inside the ring. So he didn't even know at that moment.
This is actually not that uncommon following a knockout. Once a fighter, or anyone who gets knocked out, regains consciousness, oftentimes they are still very disoriented and truly don't know what just transpired, given that their lights were just turned out. This is what happened with Woodley. If you've seen the knockout, Paul landed the right hook flush on Woodley, and he face planted into the canvas without bracing. Dean Thomas goes on to talk about how Woodley finally accepted the knockout loss backstage after the fight. But what do you think about how Woodley handled the loss in the aftermath? Dan Hooker roasts Jon Jones over Chael Sonnen Vegas altercation. In the wake of Chael Sonnen's 5 battery citations over an alleged brawl at a hotel in Las Vegas last weekend, Dan Hooker is now throwing some major shade Jon Jones' way. Let's backtrack a bit, as Sonnen was briefly detained and then later given 5 citations for misdemeanor battery over an alleged fight that took place at the Luxor Hotel and Casino in Sin City last Saturday night. According to reports online and in the media, the whole thing was because one man and his wife were making lewd comments to Sonnen about his wife. Sonnen allegedly took matters into his own hands and was cited for battery of 5 different men. These details were only revealed in the days that followed the incident, but Jones, just hours after it took place, posted this on Twitter. Chael Sonnen, I'm not gonna sit here and celebrate you getting battery charges against a female last night. That would make me like you, and I'm nothing like you. Instead, I will wish your family well. I wish the victim's family well. The comment, that would make me like you, is in reference to Sonnen's comments about Jones after the former light heavyweight champion was charged with domestic violence and tampering a police vehicle after he was arrested for allegedly hitting his wife back in late September, also at a Las Vegas hotel, following a UFC Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Charges in that case were ultimately dropped in late November. Well, now with all that backstory, this is what Hooker said about Jones on Twitter. Imagine beating up 5 people and not one of them is your wife. Jane Jones right now. Hooker's sense of humor is well known, and now he's taking a big jab at Jones, who has yet to respond. What do you think of Hooker roasting Jon Jones with this comment? Today's video was jam-packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this. See you next time.